friends, I'm Ginger and I'm glad you're here with me. Join me in this oil painting session as I demonstrate the use of Shiva paint sticks. I'm correcting my pronunciation in this video. I made a mistake of calling this product Shiva in my previous video. Sorry about that. I've heard North American artists call it that way, probably because we tend to use long vowel sounds a lot here. But I've done some research and this product apparently is named Shiva with a short I sound, Shiva. So I stand corrected. Anyway, in this video, I will use these oil sticks again and create this cityscape from Denmark. It's my dream to travel to Copenhagen because I saw a beautiful photo of the city with their colorful 17th century buildings, breathtaking waterfront, and beautiful harbors and filled with fishing boats and traditional architecture that looks so romantic. So I wanted to go there, but for now I'll just paint it on canvas and stare at it from my own living room. Well, at least until I can save up money for a plane ticket. Okay, so for those of you who haven't tried using Shiva paint sticks before, I have another video that reviews and demos the product in greater detail. The video is called How to Paint with Shiva Artist Paint Sticks. You can find that the link of that video in my description box below this page, or you can check out the end screen links that I post at the end of this video. One thing that bears repeating is that these paints are creamy and buttery in consistency. They remain wet for as long as you're scraping and rubbing them on canvas or on paper, so you need to carefully apply layers to avoid mud. The sticks are self-healing. That means that the paint creates a solid dry film when not in use. So if you've stored your paints for a while and then decide to use them, use a palette knife to remove the film that covers the paint. Otherwise, the colors are not released. You'll be scrubbing crayons and yet the pigments are not engaged. So now going back to Copenhagen, which is the subject of this painting, I chose this scene because something about the place caught my eye. The colorful rows of waterfront buildings was what drew my attention in the beginning. They have bright buildings in reds, yellows, and blues, and they're so pretty. It reminds me of those charming row houses in the Atlantic provinces of Canada. I live in the West Coast, so visiting the East is in my bucket list. Anyway, in recreating this urban sort of coastal scene, I may exaggerate my colors a bit because although the building facades in Copenhagen are bright, they're not nearly as multicolored and showy as what I'm making them out to be here in my canvas. I love painting cafes and restaurants, lampposts and cobblestone streets, just like what you find in Paris and Venice. Copenhagen has them too, so that's another reason why I chose this subject. But more than the colorful streets or more than the restaurants bustling with people, what struck me was this picture of a canal with 3 dark tunnels. The one you see me paint right here. Those tunnels in Copenhagen are really short tunnels, not quite like the Othello tunnels I've been into here in British Columbia, where you're literally feeling your way in the dark before seeing the light at the other end. But I guess because of the angle of photography, I couldn't see through to the end of this tunnel here. Boats pass through this canal and it's probably one of the highlights of a tourist's visit in Denmark. Now, why is this picture striking? To be honest, the view of the landscape hit me on a spiritual level. Maybe because I'm going through some personal crisis at this point in my life, I associated the dark tunnel with that part of my journey where pain resides. So I decided to paint this scene and speak encouragement to many of you out there whose life story is also not a picture of perfection, just like mine. You see, dear friends, we all go through sufferings. We can't always be happy. Sometimes we are above ground on the street level of Copenhagen, enjoying a cup of coffee in the cafe while taking in the breeze and basking in the comforts of life. There are days we can laugh. There are days when our work projects succeed, or people acknowledge our talents, or friends gather to hug us with their presence, or days when we have all we want, everything we want. Things go as planned. Bank accounts are fat, kids are not annoying, and babies sleep through the night. There are many, many seasons though when life crashes. Things mess up and we're no longer in control. Suddenly, sickness punches you in the face. You receive a dreaded phone call and the diagnosis is not good. Suddenly, you get laid off and you don't have enough savings to last you a week. Bills are piling high and you don't know where to turn. Suddenly, you're shaken from the foundation. It feels like you're a plant that was plucked out of the soil and your roots lost their grip. You don't have a grip. You can only go emotional, weep through the night and hope that the promised joy will really come in the morning. But morning comes and the same problems still sting you. You feel completely lost, alone, sad and abandoned. You don't know why things happen the way they do. You have no clue and you have no hope. If you're in this stage, my friend, let me tell you this. All that pain is part of your story for a good reason. All that sorrow is part of the picture God is painting in your life. It's what makes a picture stunning. A painting with only happy tones of pink pastels and bright oranges, like what I'm painting here on my canvas, they won't look good unless we have contrasts of blacks, dark browns, and boring grays. In the same way that the dark tunnels in this painting are what makes the cityscape stand out in beauty, our suffering, your suffering, my suffering, it's what makes our life beautiful. Your black, bleak days, your scars are what make your heart and soul grow and glow richly, like a crown of gold in heaven. Your brokenness, your helplessness, all that sadness that make you feel like you're coasting along the dark tunnels in this canal. Those are part of the beautiful story God is writing. So embrace them. The tunnel is part of the picture in the same way that your trials are part of the story. Accept the contrasts of happy days and sad days, because it is what will make your life scenery as picturesque as the Copenhagen landscape I have here. Sometimes we expect God to show up in our happy places, only to realize that He's not there. Actually, He does show up in our happy places, but often we are too drowned in our happiness, too distracted, or too invested in the noise around us, and all that celebration has caused us to lose sight of God. While painting this Copenhagen scene, this is the inspiration that hit me. I could imagine myself getting lost along the cobblestone streets, taking pictures of every bit of architecture. Because I'm like that. My kids really make fun of me that way. Like every time we go to some place, they would always say, "Oh, we can't walk faster because mom is taking a picture. We have to stop so many times." Well, that's just me. I get lost in the scenery. I take pictures every chance I get. So I could imagine myself getting obsessed with like coffee shops and pastries, and I could easily forget God while I travel comfortably, probably shopping or enjoying my vacation. So what will force me into an intentional consciousness of God is when I get into the quiet tunnel. Metaphorically speaking, the dark tunnel can be our God zone. It is when all is quiet, when the noise above is muffled, that we hear Him speak. It is when our spirits are in quiet meditation, being still before God, that we can make sense of His Word, right? So God is not just in our happy places, He's in our sad, dark, despairing moments also. We just feel Him more intensely in the tunnel than in the seasons of prosperity when all is good and we are in control of every situation, right? So sometimes our grief can be so deep that we don't see the Lord. Sometimes our problems are so tangled we can't see past the mess. But once we've gone past the grief, once we've dried our tears, we'll realize God was there all along. He was there all along. I guess what I'm saying is that God allows us sometimes to enter the tunnel. He purposely detaches us from the scenic view above so we may enter the God zone and learn important lessons there. Many times. I'll be honest with you, I've experienced the betrayal of people closest to me. In my most vulnerable moments, friends talked behind my back, judged me falsely, created conflict out of misunderstandings, and threw me into a period of deep depression. It is a time of loneliness, a time of abandonment. It felt like the whole world was against me and no one was there to stand on my side. No one was there to say, hey Ginger, you're good enough, you are right, or you are loved, or you are important. Sometimes you need friends who will whisper those words to you, but there are times when recently I don't have that. I was surrounded by people, yet I felt alone. Have you ever experienced something like that? Like you have your friends and family around you, but you feel alone? There may be fence riders around you, people who watch you, who see what's going on, but who remain indifferent either because they don't understand and they don't know what to do with you, or because they're just too busy to care. Like sometimes people are just too busy to help you out. Well, that's what being in the tunnel feels like sometimes. It feels desperate. It feels very, very desperate. But you know what? There's good news. Really, there is good news. God has you covered. When all else fails, you have God. When everyone else leaves, God sticks closer to you than a shadow. And God is not a God who waits for you to fail, right? He doesn't do that. He doesn't find joy in tossing you off. He's not one to bring you into the boat, let you float through the canal and into the tunnel, only to overturn your boat before you even reach the other end. No, he won't do that. You won't die in the tunnel. The Lord won't let that happen. You won't perish in your personal storm unless you give up hope and you yourself jump off the boat. So friend, stick with the good news. And the good news is that there's glory waiting for you on the other side. Your vindication will come. Your restoration will happen. Your finances will improve. Believe it or not, it will. Your relationships will heal. Your work will succeed. Your marriage will get better. You too will be chosen. Your dream will gain momentum and soar before your eyes. And believe it or not, your enemies will run away. They'll probably get tired and they'll just run away. Your pantry will be full of food and you'll feast in abundance. You'll have more so that you can be generous to others. All of these will happen. Once you've learned the precious lessons God has mapped out for you, stuff you need to learn while in the tunnel, lessons like humility, perseverance, patience or hope, lessons of faith, lessons of charity or forgiveness, lessons to decrease in self-love so that the God love may increase. Whatever lesson it is, you will know. God will make sure you will know. He will teach you. Those are the reasons why you're in the tunnel. They're lessons you need to know. So dear friend, be brave. I need to say this thing to myself as well. So let me repeat. Be brave. Take courage. Embrace both the happy and sad places, for they're both part of the picture. Shift your focus from the pain to the delayed glory. There's something beautiful to be gained from the suffering. There's gain. Yes, it's just a bit delayed, but there's gain. So embrace your scars and everything else that inflicts more scars into your life, because in the end, you will be glad and thank God for the experience. This is again Ginger from Art That Plays and Prays. Thanks for watching this video and for being with me throughout this creative worship. I hope you enjoyed the painting process and have gathered hope from today's reflection. See you again soon.